tailor the presentation and the tutorial as per that knowledge, assuming that you are just introduced to the technical analysis concepts. First of all, what is Investar and how it can help you? So as you all might be knowing, there are three types of traders in the market: long-term traders, short-term traders, and intraday traders. And basically, as far as Investar is concerned, it suits all types of traders. Typically, you have both fundamental and technical analysis as ways of analyzing the market. And generally, the fundamental analysis is basically just understanding the financials and using it to select the companies. While technical analysis is basically studying the price and volume history to decide when you want to buy and sell. I personally believe that you have to use both of them as per what type of trading you are doing. For example, if you are a long-term trader, you probably are going to focus more on fundamentals, less on technicals. There is a misconception in the market that generally if you're a long-term trader, you only do fundamentals, but technicals are also important for timing. If you're a short-term trader, your focus is going to be technicals and then fundamentals. And if you're a day trader, then you probably are going to focus only on technicals. Now, in terms of Investar, as I'll show you later, you can basically do both of these things in one software. And obviously your course, I don't know the content, but as I understand in Credent, the training that you're undergoing is mostly technical analysis, so we'll be focusing on that. Now, first thing that is important to understand is that when you use a chart, what type of time frames you are using. Time frames is basically when you look at a chart, what is the data, what is the each data point representing? Is it representing basically one day, or is it representing week, whatever it is? Long-term traders generally hold for more than 6 months. The short-term traders have shorter term holding period of few days to less than 3 weeks, and they use daily and hourly charts. I'm just giving you an example, like a typical example of what a short-term trader would use. Of course, there would be variations in different types of short-term traders. And finally, if you're an intraday trader, you would probably be using what is either any of the intraday time frames, like a 1 hour and 15 minute, 30 minute and 5 minute, or 15 minute, 3 minute. Now, generally, of course, I'm using a combination of time frames because a combination of time frames is used for better sort of a decision making. Now, having said this, let's start off with the software presentation. So I'm going to go on to my screen here. Let me see. I'll just start off fresh by software, and so that you know exactly how to go about the software and all that. I'm assuming you all have downloaded, and if you have any downloading problems of software, you can always go to the website, and that our support team will help you with that. That's not an issue. I'm just going to assume that you have downloaded, and let's just go from there. So basically, once you click onto the Investar icon, you'll see a login screen, and the login screen will, you just type the password, the same password that you are typing for your website, for the investorindia.com website. That same password you type here, and as soon as you type the login screen, the software will go connect to our server, fetch all the data, and it will present a screen to you. Now, first of all, let me just introduce the overall interface of the software so you know how the things work. Now, this Kickstart tutorial I would highly recommend each of you to do, because this is a hands-on tutorial. Let me quickly explain it, because I personally believe that the best way to learn a software is to do it using the hands-on way. So there's a query that is there that most of the people some people were having problems on the Windows 10. Our software does work on Windows 10, so if there's any problem, our support would be able to sort it out. So it should be just brought it to the attention of Radhika in support, and she'll be able to sort it out. Okay. So Let's see the, in terms of the quick start tutorials, how it works is a very simple way. If supposing, let's say I go on to the second last tutorial, which is using Investar for technical analysis, you simply click on this, and then it is a guided tutorial where a message comes and it tells you this pointer tells you where what you should do. So this is telling you to click on this chart button, click on the charts button. So what you have to do is you have to click on the chart button to go to the next step and follow the instructions what it is doing, and that way you will get the most out of it. So it's telling you Reliance, type Reliance here to see a daily chart of Reliance. So simply what you do is you simply select this and then you type Reliance like that, and then simply select it and it will move on to the next step. Then again you can also do a symbol lookup, click on this button and then click on this. Again you can here and you can do all these things and all the steps and go on and so forth. So after this tutorial I would highly recommend starting it so that and going through the tutorial to make the most out of it. Now let's get on to the interface. So first thing you see in the software is that there is this status bar at the bottom. It is telling me that the NAC data as of 23rd of December is updated up to 132. Now our software is a 1-minute real-time software, and all of you have gotten a full-fledged trial of 1-minute real-time data, which typically goes through the normal users for around 2,900 rupees or so. As current students, we have given you that free trial. Now, basically, this means that the data will update every minute, and when the data is updated every minute, you see that your chart will also update, your scans will also update, and so on. So now again, when the 133 time came, you see that the tick 133 has arrived. You can quickly navigate to the status of every data. So you can go to the BAC FNOS data. You can see the BAC status, which is EOD. We don't have the intraday data for BAC. And you can see the MCX. Again, MCX and NCDX, we don't have intraday. Only we have intraday for NSC and NSC FNO. That is the status. There is also this buttons here, which if you have ever used Outlook, 2003, 2007, this button is basically similar to that interface. You can drag and drop it to reduce it also. What it allows you to do is it allows you to access different part of your screen. So right now we are looking at the home screen. We can go to any, like a charts interface, you can go to the fundamentals part of it by clicking on a button over here. You can go to the portfolio manager and like that, right? Second thing is, the software also allows you to see two things together. So for example, let us say you wanted to see two things together. Let's say I wanted to see the charts with fundamentals. I simply click on this button here. So now that brings me to the next important topic, which is basically this toolbar here. These toolbars and all, they are basically specific toolbars for different functionalities. For example, the one that I just mentioned, which is this one. This is the common toolbar, and it is useful to actually quickly change screen layout. So you can increase the screen size, for example. Remove the navigation pane or bring the navigation pane back, or you can change the orientation of the charts and fundamentals. So if you go here, you can change the orientation of charts and fundamentals to horizontal, again to vertical, to vertical and then to horizontal, and so on. One important thing is that even though you don't know fundamentals, for example, I'm assuming that, you can simply click on the advisor here to get certain advice on the fundamentals here. The more the green thumbs up that is there, the better the stock is. Now this is obviously more relevant to you if you are short-term or long-term trader, not for a day trader. And finally, we can also do other combinations of screens quickly. For example, if you wanted to do a charts with scans and favorites, that would be done by this one, and portfolio and charts, that would be done by this one. Now let's get on to the normal usual fundamentals of the chart. Before that, there's also this main menu. Typically, if I use a software, I don't end up using the main menu too much, but you can also use that to access the same functionality that you can also access using these common tasks also. However, a lot of these tasks are also inbuilt into the toolbars here. So we'll just use them as and when we go along. So now also to do an overview, let me just bring up the important parts of getting a successful trading strategy. One is of course a good technical analysis software. Second is a good buying and selling strategy with strict discipline. And third is proper money management. I assume that second and third you'll be learning at your current course. What I'll be focusing on is the technical analysis software part of it. First of all, I've given you the overview of the Investar GUI. I'll be talking about all the charting features and how to actually create different layouts, different templates, access multiple charts, and all those things, how to draw trend lines, all those things that are needed to do proper technical analysis. And of course, I'll be just touching upon using both of them together, fundamental and technicals. And I'll be talking about our screener. Our screener is one of the most sort of popular features because of the ease of use. And I'll show you how it can be used to generate the ideas, because it is impossible for anybody in the market to look at the entire 1500 stocks and view all the charts one by one. You have to get some tool to actually scan the market to get ideas about what stocks you want to trade in. Then I'll be talking about also how the scans can be used to create your watch list, and then how to manage those watch lists on a day-to-day basis. And finally, we'll be talking about also tracking your portfolio. Personally, I feel as a student, it is extremely important to paper trade. And what I will show you is some of the key features that actually help you visualize whether whatever you are paper trading is actually going in the direction that you want, or whether you should be correcting your strategy and that kind of a thing. Okay. So that's basically what it is. Let's now get on to the software. The first thing that we'll do is, right now we are actually looking at a Reliance chart here. That's where you enter the symbol. This is the name of the company, and this is the industry of the company. Okay. Now there is also some other things, for example, which is basically the daily that is shown here. This is basically the time frame. So what does the time frame mean? Because you all are beginners, I'll just make sure that we all are in the same page on that. Time frame basically means that if you go on to any particular sort of data point in the chart, it is basically representing a certain date. It's currently my date is 23rd, and what is shown here, where I'm just showing you the date and the open, high, low, close values here. That is basically today's date. Now, as I move along in the chart, like let's say I go along to the left, you can see the date reduce. Now, there are two ways to see this thing. It's either you see it directly on the chart, or there's also a data window here. If you click on the data window, you can also see this data window. And as you move along your cursor, so I'm actually just moving my left button, so you can see that the date is decrementing by one single day. That is because this is a daily time frame. Now, of course, you want to do technical analysis on all kinds of time frames. Daily is not the only one we want to do. We want to do it all the way up to 1 minute charts. So how do we go about it? So first of all, let me explain what is the concept of all these zoom buttons. Now, these are the normal zoom buttons where you can zoom in to the chart, zoom out of the chart, or you can zoom a specific area of the chart like that. So that is, I'm zooming a specific area of the chart. I can also go and zoom reset. If I zoom reset, then I would actually get back to exactly the template that was actually stored previously. Now, I use the word template. What is a template? A template is basically anything where your chart settings are saved. So these are all predefined templates that we have included in the software, but you are not limited to them. And I'm going to show you how to create a new template. So please alert me if I'm going too fast or too slow or whatever. I would highly appreciate that. Since this is I can't hear anybody, it is a little hard for me to judge if everybody is with me or not. So I would please request the organizer or somebody to just alert me if I'm going too fast or something. So these are all the templates. Now what we do, thank you for the feedback. So these are all the templates. Now what happens is, for now I'm just going to close this data window. You can always go here and open it. Now notice what happens whenever you go to a button, it gives a tooltip, tells you what it is all about. So that is another thing. If you hover over it, you will also know what is there. So like in any Windows software. Now the star, by the way, in the template, there is a star over here. if you see where my arrow cursor is, that indicates that I have done something template like zooming or zoom out, which has caused it to be unsaved. So star just means unsaved. Like if you open a Word document, if it is not saved, it's indicated somehow. So that way we have also indicated uses a star to indicate that it's unsaved. Okay, so let us create a new template out of this. Before doing that, let me just show you the predefined templates. Okay, so as we go to different parts, different of these templates, you will see that each of the template is different. This one has a 5-minute time frame and a 3 days duration, like that, and so on and so forth, right? So let us now create a new template out of this. And what I'm going to do is my first template I'm going to create as an intraday template of 5-minute time frame. So what I'll do is I'll right click on my chart. Okay, that's the easiest way. Remember one thing, in Investar, anytime you want to access something, the fastest way to do it is right click. Whether it is accessing, on the screen here, if supposing I do the right click, if I go here, there's a right click. So whenever you just right click, and you should see a menu that will help you do the things. So right clicking on the chart will bring me to right here on your screen. And then if I go here, there's a menu called chart view. Now chart view is a way of looking at a chart. So it's basically nothing other than a template. A template is anywhere, anything where you save all your settings. It's because as a technical analyst, you need to have your favorite settings stored somewhere. So you normally would like to create your own templates based on your strategies. So we're going to save this, create a new view. We're going to call it save view as, and I'm going to call it my intra view, and I'm going to save it. So that's my intra-view. In fact, I wanted to call it something more with the time frame. So let me just rename it again. I'll call it my intra 5M, so that I know that that's my 5-minute template. But I have my old settings. So notice what happened. It took this template and created this template, which is exactly a copy of that one, right? Now I need to change my template. So I'm going to go to a 5-minute duration. Because in Investar, as of now, we have around 2 months of 5-minute data software. And then this one, I will make it like something like 10 days probably. So even not 10 days, maybe even 5 days, so that I can see the chart a little more clearly, right? So that's my 5-minute chart and 5 days template. This is what I want to store. And I don't want any of the indicators, so I'm going to remove the bottom area. This will make it less confusing. I'm going to do all the indicators in the top area. And we start with this simple thing. And I'm going to save this thing as a new template. Now notice what happens when you save it. What you'll see is you will see that the star over here. Focus on the star over here. There's a star over here. Notice that will change as soon as I save it. It will basically be removed. So if I say view, and yes, then you see that the star has gone away. This just tells you that the template is saved. Okay. Now this is a price chart. It is a candlestick chart, which is a commonly used chart in technical analysis. If you want to switch the chart type to say a line chart, you can go here and then do a line chart. Or if you want to go to a different type of chart, say bar chart, that also you can do. Or you can also go to what is called a Heikin-Ashi chart. I don't know if that's in your syllabus, but that's basically those are the different chart types. I'm going to stick to a candlestick chart because it displays the open, high, low, close, and all that. And then, since you're all new to this, I'll also explain what is the meaning of the 5-minute. Now, 5-minute time frame means that if I were to zoom into this area here, then every single bar that I have is representing basically 5 minutes. So as I move my cursor, you can see that my time is reducing by 5 minutes. Again, just to be clear on that, you can see as I'm moving my cursor, the time in my data window is also changing by 5 minutes, and it is giving me the open, high, low, close of that particular interval. Okay, so there's an opening price for the 1320 interval, and high and low and close. So that's basically what the software depicts as you go to 5-minute time frame. All right. Now that's the charting part. What if I wanted to see a script here? All I do is simply now notice one thing, whenever a new tick comes, new data comes, you will see the will scroll automatically and a candle will be created on the rightmost. What if I wanted to see a different chart? Let us say I want to see a Nifty chart. So all I do here is I simply type Nifty and I would be able to see its chart. But what if I don't know its symbol? If I don't know its symbol, what I can do is I simply type the name of the company. So if I know Infosys, then if I type Infos, I will get all the companies that are starting from Infosys here. And there's one more thing here that you need to know, that there's this thing that says lookup mode is right. So this lookup mode basically decides what your lookup options are. So if I say Infosys right now, I'll see an Infosys chart. But suppose I'm more of an F&O trader, future and option trader, then what I might want to do is I might want to set my default lookup mode to NSE F&O by selecting this. When you select this, what happens is there's a tick mark at the beginning of it. It selects your default lookup mode. So now, if I were to type, for example, Nifty here, you should see all the Nifty related F&O sort of scripts here. Of course, I don't know if I don't know if futures and options is part of the syllabus, but if it is, I can also cover some of these. What is this meaning of CONT and SPLC? Please alert me at the end of the webinar if you want me to cover that. But that's the way you can actually do the lookup. So supposing I'm doing INFI, then it will show me all the INFI futures and options and all that. Okay, I'm going to go get back to the stock lookup because that's just how, that will just be my focus in this webinar. Now we've seen how to look at any particular stock. We've seen how to zoom in, zoom out, zoom reset, set the settings on any particular template here. Now notice when I go back to my previous template like this EMA vol RS, it is still the 1 year daily that we had started with. This one is totally new, what we have just created right now. Okay. All right, now that's basically the how to deal with all the charts and all. Now there is another thing that you will actually be doing is adding what are called technical indicators in the technical analysis. So in technical analysis, there's basically support resistance. There's trend lines, trends that you have to identify using trend lines. And then there's technical indicators and there's candlesticks. These are the few main areas that one need to be aware of, and I'm going to show you how to do those things in the software. Okay. So first of all, let's start with some technical indicators. So let us say we wanted to add a simple technical indicator to this chart. How will we do it? So to do that, suppose I do a right click again, and then the first menu itself is add indicator. So I'm going to click on the add indicator. Now as soon as I do add indicator, I'm going to add a simple moving average, which is basically, or let me say an exponential moving average, which is basically EMA. And all I do is simply press on the E button here to get quickly to the exponential moving average. If I keep pressing on the E button, it will just move around with only the indicator starting with E. And then here I basically click on this. I go to the top area. And I want to say have the EMA 20, which is this blue thing, and I want to add it to the top area. So that's my exponential moving average on closing price of the 20 period. Now the details of this I'm not going to cover. I'm sure they'll be covered in your course. I'm just going to show you how to use these things. Let's add another indicator. There is an EMA here. And we're going to add a 5 period EMA. So that's the number of bars that are considered calculating the moving average. Likewise, every indicator has a number of bars that are considered, number of data points that are considered, and that is usually what is the period. And you can also choose whether you want to do it on the close, low, high, or all of these other things that are usually used for that. And I'm going to add this too. Now notice one thing that happens is as soon as I add that, the software is automatically added some green and red arrows. To see them clearly, if we just move to our line chart, we'll see that there are these green and red arrows that are added. These green and red arrows that are added. Basically, these are just visual indicators as to where the buy and sell signals are happening for this indicator. As you will learn in your course, not all of these buy and sell signals are correct. Do not blindly trade on them. They are just guidelines that what this particular indicator is giving. For example, this moving average crossover gives a lot of false signals in a sideways trend, while in a trending market it behaves quite well. You can see that this buy signal was perfect and this sell signal was perfect because the market was trending during that direction. While here you will see a lot of whipsaws or false signals. So those are the things that you need to be, do not follow this blindly. This is what I want to make sure everybody of you understand, that these are not buy and sell signals to be blindly followed. After all, you are taking a course just to understand how to avoid them and how to get better at your trading. Okay, so that's how the buy and sell signals are added. What if you wanted to configure these buy and sell signals? Then there is a simple way to do that, and that can be done using this buy and sell button here. So if you go here, there's a buy sell signals button here. Here, if I click on it, I can say that show buy sell signals for moving average, and I can decide which is my faster signal and slower signal. Usually the faster parameter is my faster signal, slower parameter is my, lower parameter is my faster signal, and higher parameter is my slower signal. And whenever these two cross each other, the signals are generated. This is a just a sort of a note, or some kind of a brief on when the buy and sell signal is generated. Okay. Let me add another indicator here, which is quite popular, especially amongst day traders, which is called super trend. And if I add it to the top and simply add it like that, then now I have two indicators on the top, and then I need to select which of the indicators to show the buy and sell signals for, and that would be done by selecting this one. So if I wanted to change the buy and sell signals to super trend, then I would just simply change it here. I would save it, and my buy and sell signals would now be based on the super trend indicator. Okay, so that's a simple way to do that. Now on the bottom area, now you can see that this chart has two areas. It is the top area and it has the bottom area. You can basically move around the areas like that. So you can just drag and drop the area, resize it up to your needs, or you can add an indicator in a different area. So whatever indicator we added right now, they are called trending indicators. So they get added to the price. There are other types of indicators which are called oscillators, and if you add them, for example, if I go here, add indicator, and a popular oscillator is say an RSI, and if you go to add an RSI and simply do the add button here, an area gets added here, third area gets added with the RSI, the default parameter of 14. Okay, and again you will see that the buy and sell signals are added. How the buy and sell signals are configured, I will tell you that shortly in this, but a few things here. First of all, what if I wanted to change the parameter of an indicator? So to change the parameter of an indicator, simply select it. So you can select the indicator, these squares indicate that the indicator is selected, and right click on it, change the properties, and you can change the RSI, say for example to 7. Of course, the buy and sell signals won't match. I want to just make sure that you understand that. I change the parameters to indicator parameter to 7, and the buy and sell signals, the buy and sell signal change according to this, but they will not be according to the level displayed. So I just want to clarify my statement. When you change the parameter of the indicator, the buy and sell signals will adjust automatically, which is what happened. As I changed it to a lower value, you see lot more false signals, lot more signals and lot more false signals. But the levels that are there are 30 and 70. Now, how do you change the levels? Suppose I go here, I change the properties. I can also change the levels here. So some people, for example, use 25 and 75. So I can add 25 and I can add 75 also, and I can say okay, and now my levels are 25, 75. But please note that my signals are still according to the 7 parameter, and they are based on the 70. How do we know that? If we go to the buy sell signals window here, and we go to the third area here, you can see that the level based signal that is there is 30 and 70. Now in Investar, there are two types of signals. One is crossover based and one is level based. So when we talk about the crossover based, that is basically wherever you have the moving averages, two indicators crossing each other, those are the cross signals. And the level based are where a level is basically you have the price crossing the indicator crossing a certain level, and that indicates whether the buyer sells. So in RSI, for example, as we'll learn later on, when the RSI is crossing above the 30 level, we want the signal to be generated. While when it's crossing below the 70 level, you want the sell signal to be generated. So that is basically by default. You can always change the levels here. So note one thing: when you change the levels on the indicator side, you also need to change the levels over here. It's just the way the whole thing functions, because both of them are independent. Setting where the lines will happen and setting where the levels will be shown, the buy sell signals for the level will be shown are independent. Okay, I'm just going to change this back to 70 because that's the normal thing, and I'm also going to change my properties here again back to where it was, 30 and 70. Okay. All right. So now we have a layout with three indicators: the price on the top, the volume in the middle, and the RSI 7 on the bottom. And again, I think RSI also will change because later on when I show the scans, it'll be more easier to understand why they are happening the way they are. So now this is the simple layout of a 5-minute sort of a chart. How do you go about doing things on on a particular chart, for example, like drawing trend lines and all? For drawing trend lines, I'm going to go to a different chart. Let us say I'm going to go to a daily time frame, and I'll again create my own chart view. As you see, I do this a lot because I don't like the predefined template, so I just create my own template here. I'm going to remove my lower area, and I'm going to remove all my other indicators on top. Now let's try to go to a Nifty chart, and let me show you how to go about drawing a trend line or a support and resistance line. So first I will show you how to draw a support resistance line in the normal way, which is a horizontal line, and then I will show you how to draw it using our Auto RS tool, which is actually not in Investar but it's in beta, which is a sort of a not yet released version. The simple way to draw a support or resistance line is simply you just pull up this horizontal line. So just to do it again, simply click on this toolbar on the right. So this is a toolbar that helps actually you to draw any kind of technical drawing, as it's called, or technical studies as it's called, and you simply click on it and click on the chart area to draw it. So that would be probably one of my resistance lines, if I may say that. And similarly, if I were to draw a support line, it would be something that would be going through lows in the price chart. So it would be something like that, because it's going through the lows, through this basically this low here and this low here. So that's one way to draw a simple support and resistance line. How about a trend line? To draw trend line, you simply go to the right of the screen. Again, this toolbar, by the way, can also be dragged and dropped. So if you want to, if you're more comfortable, you can also drag it to the horizontal if you like. So they'll give you the entire list of drawings. Some of the drawings are actually not visible clearly when you have it on the right. So that is depending on whatever your comfort level is. Otherwise, you have to go here and you will see the remaining drawings over here. Okay, so there's quite a few drawings, 30 plus drawings. Just make sure you don't miss out on any of them. If you go to the trendline tool, so there is can you all hear me please? Because there is a message here indicating that some network connection difficulties. So can you all hear me? Hello, can you all hear me? Okay, great. Just there was a GoToMeeting was indicating that there was network connection difficulty, so I thought I'll check with you. Let's proceed. So the next drawing that I'm going to show you is going to be this. On the right, there is a trend line tool. So if I go here, so there is a trend line tool over here, and if you click on the trend line tool, uh, I'm left clicking on the trend line tool, and if I were to draw a trend line, for example, just for the sake of it, I will just draw a trend line that is, for example, going through the highs over here. So you can either you can directly draw a trend line like that, or if you want assistance of the software, which is what I'm more interested in showing you, is what you do is you simply select the trend line like that. So there are two green squares at the end of it, and then you can right click and change the properties of the trend line so that it snaps to price high to high like that, because it's a downtrend line. Of course, you will learn this how to do this later on. And then as you drag and drop the trend line, then you can actually pretty much decide where you want to place it. So for example, if you ask me, I would probably place it at the highs because it's touching the maximum number of highs over here. And then once I've drawn a trend line, I can also change the trend line properties to extend right or left as I may fit. So for example, that would be a trend line that I would draw. And this indicates to me that this particular, this Nifty in a long intermediate term scenario, which is about 6 months to longer, intermediate to long term scenario, the Nifty has been more or less in a downtrend. That's what it indicates to me. So that's how you would draw a downtrend. And for an uptrend, if you were to draw an uptrend, let's just go to here. If I were to draw an uptrend, I would probably draw something maybe on a weekly chart here. And I would draw a line like that. And again, right click, change properties, trend line, snap to price, low to low. So that would just quickly snap my line to the lowest prices. And I could then again extend my trend line to the left and to the right. And that would be my complete trend line. Okay. So this is the simple way to sort of draw trend lines. Now there's one thing that we need to understand when we are drawing any of these sort of drawings. By default, any drawing that actually comes up to come up in a particular layer. Whenever you have a weekly or daily or monthly time frame, the layer is basically DWM or daily, weekly, monthly. Understand this concept of layering very clearly because it will help you to do much more powerful analysis later on. A layer is basically, it decides on what time frames you want the drawing to appear. Okay, so when you say by default that a drawing that is in the daily time frame, DWM layer will be shown in all the three time frames, daily, weekly, and monthly. That is what it means. Now, if I were to notice what happened, we actually drew this particular this particular. Let me go to my drawing thing. Yeah. So we actually drew this particular trend line when my time frame was weekly, right? But it still shows up in the when my time frame was daily, but it still shows up in the weekly time. Similarly, if I were to go to a monthly time frame, I will still see these two trend lines I've drawn, because whatever trend line by default, if I draw in any of daily, weekly, monthly, is going to show in all the three time frames. That is why. However, note now, if supposing I were to go to a 4-hour time frame, then suddenly what I will see is my trend line is not visible anymore. That's because it is only visible in the daily, weekly, and monthly time frame. So now I'm going to show you a simple technique. Sometimes what happens is some technical analysts want to draw a trend line only in a couple of time frames. Let's say I have this hourly time frame trend line drawn, okay, and I want to draw this only in the I want to show it only by default. It is going to show it in also in the 30-minute time frame. It will show it in 15-minute also. Why is that? Because whenever I draw any trend line in an intraday time frame, my layer is the intraday layer, and hence it will show in any intraday time frame. That is why. Okay. What I'm going to now show you is, suppose I want this trend line to show up only in the 15-minute and hourly time frame. Then what I can do is, I simply right click, I change the properties. What I can do here is I can create a new layer, and I can call it my 1 hour and 15M. Okay. And what I would do here is I would select the 15-minute and 1 hour time frame, and I would say OK. Now if my layer is also selected to 1 hour and 15-minute, I will just click on OK, and I will see that this trend line is not visible in any other time frame other than the hourly time frame and the 15-minute time frame. It is not visible in any other time frame, only in hourly and 15-minute. Why? Because that is the layer we have selected. As soon as I change the layer, I can also change the layer of a drawing. As soon as I change the layer back to intraday, it will again immediately start showing up in all the time frames. Okay, so this is a very important concept, because sometimes what happens is, if you get to an advanced stage of technical analysis, you need to distinguish sometimes drawings that are drawn in one layer from another layer, and then you want to create your own layers. So this will help you do that. Now, how about the some other basic things, like what about the thickness and dashness and all those lines? So if you have a line selected, simply go here and change the dashed. You can change the dashness or the behavior of that, or you can change the thickness. You can make it thicker, or even thicker if you want, and whatever like that, right? So all those things are settable. I can also change, for example, the color of the drawing. And the good thing is, once I change the color of the drawing, then all subsequent drawings are also in that same color. Okay. Now there's some other important sort of settings that you need to remember. All the chart related settings are usually over here. I go to the tools button here, and then I go to the options here. You will see that there are different tabs over here. These different tabs indicate what I set for the charting. So if I go here, all the chart options are settable over here. I can select, for example, things like what my buy and sell colors are, which are the buy and sell arrows that I showed you. I can also select my chart skin if I want if I want to go to black background, then I would probably do this. If I just click on apply, then I would see the black background. I don't want to see the grid lines, I can disable them. I want the cursor tracks mouse option, I can apply and see. So now my cursor is tracking the mouse. As soon as I'm moving my mouse, the cursor is going to track it, right? All these options you can play around with over here. All right. What are the other important things? There's sometimes you want to have a blank bar on the right margin. So you can simply select 50, apply, and you will see that there's some blank bars that appear on the right margin. This is used mainly for projection, projection techniques. Many times in technical analysis, you need to project your price in the future. So that is when you need to do this thing. Okay. Let me see what else. And then finally, the buy and sell signal on partial candle. This is a feature which will also change in the next version. But as of now, whether you want to show a buy or sell signal only when a candle is complete or not, that is what it indicates. Okay. So I think let me go back to my white thing, because it makes it easier to see. And I don't like my cursor tracks mouse, so I'm going to disable it like that. Okay. All right. So now we have covered quite a few features of the chart. Some of the things that I would like to highlight here is you can also drag the y-axis. So if I like, I can drag the y-axis like that, and if I just click on the reset button, I would get back to my original setting. This reset button is where is used to get back to any of your original settings. Okay. Now let me come to an important part of the charting thing that I was telling you, and that is basically, as I said earlier, different types of traders are interested in different time frames, and many times you want to see two charts at the same time, right? So let me explain the features in the software that are going to help you with that. And to delete, by the way, to delete a drawing is very simple. You simply click on it and you press the delete button. Simply click on it and you press the delete button. Okay. So in order to see two charts together, we have what is called a synchronization mode. So you can see here there are three modes here. One is synchronized view, synchronized talk, and then the third is no synchronization. And by default right now it is no synchronization. These settings come into play when you have multiple charts visible on your screen at the same time. Okay, so if you have these things, I mean, to understand this thing, best way would be to go to this combo box over here on the top right of my screen. This is the layouts. So you can select anywhere from one window to about 6 windows, like 6 charts. And if we go to, there's another way to look at it, and that is the predefined layouts. So what I would suggest is play around with the predefined layouts. Do not save them. Just if you go to any particular layout, let us say I wanted to do an analysis of my stock in both the time frames, which is 1 hour and 15 minute. Okay, suppose I want to analyze in 1 hour and 15-minute time frame. Then what would I do? So I can go to my, let's create a new layout. So these are again just like these were templates, these are layouts. So I'm going to start with a predefined two window stock synchronization template. Sorry, layout. This is a layout because a layout is basically more than a chart. So what is a layout? A layout is more than one chart with a certain template in each charts and a certain synchronization mode. Currently, as the name suggests, because this is just saved, when it was saved, it's saved with synchronization stock mode, synchronized stock mode. What this means is that if I were to type any symbol here, like say I type Infi here, then both the charts will be Infi. If I type Wipro here, then both charts will be Wipro. Okay, so it is synchronizing the stocks across both the windows, and hence it is allowing you to see the same stock in different time frames or different settings. That is what it's allowing you to. It's allowing you to. It's especially a good setting if you are doing multiple time frame analysis. You are analyzing in multiple time frames. Now, let us say I want to create a template, create my own template. So first, don't change anything here. Create a new layout. So you go to chart layout, right click, chart layout, and then save layout as. I will call it two window, and then I'll call it stock sync, and I'll call it my hour and 15 minute. That's, let's say it's a 1 hour and 15 minute time frame that I created. Both the thing layout I created to compare my hourly and 15-minute charts. So I say okay. Now I have two windows. On the bottom part, I have 5 minutes. That is fine. I do not have a 1 hour layout. So what I can do is 1 hour window template. So what I can do is I can right click on the top. I can create a new window which I'm going to call my intra, and then 1 hour. Okay, I'm going to save it again. As soon as I save it, my previous template got copied over here, and I can then change this to an hourly time frame, and I can go to a bigger period, like say 1 month or whatever I want, and then I can save my chart template, chart view here. This I've shown before, so there's nothing here. But now my top area is 1 hour, and my bottom area, I don't want 5 minutes, I want 15 minutes, as I told you. So 15 minutes and maybe 15 days. That's something I want to, or maybe even let's just do it say 10 days. Okay, 15 minute and 10 days duration. This is basically what I have saved currently, and what I can do is I can simply save this template, and if I simply right click and then save template here, both of my windows are, the top window is going to have an hourly chart and bottom window is going to have a 15-minute chart. Now if I go back to my one window layout and I come back to this one, exactly all my settings are the way they are. They are preserved the way they are. So if you look at me using the software, what I usually do is I create my templates of my favorite time frames. Then I create my layouts that I want, my favorite combination of time frames, and that is all I do. I usually don't generally change this time frame and this duration a lot, because once I have that, operation of the different access of the different time frames, duration become very simple. Okay. So that is what I highly recommend. If you're doing it the way you want. And I will just pause over here. If any of the instructors say, Prateek, if you want me to cover any specific, also please highlight in chat. I'll be happy to cover that. Specific to your course that you want to be done in the software. So I'll be happy to cover that. Okay. So that's a layout. Now you are not limited to this layouts only. There is also a predefined layout called 4-window view synchronization mode. If you select the 4-window view synchronization mode, this one, what it means is that you can actually see that there are different symbols. So there's Nifty IT, Bank Nifty, and Nifty 100. All the four indices are displayed in different windows. Now, because this is a view synchronization mode. Okay, if I were to change to stock synchronization, all of them will synchronize. Nifty will be in all of them, but we don't want to do that. I want to just show what is meant by view synchronization. View synchronization means that any change here will reflect in all windows. So if I change this to my intra 5 minute, all the 4 windows will change to my intra 5 minute template. If I change this to a hourly template, all the 4 windows will change to an hourly template. If I change this to a daily template, all 4 windows will change to a daily template. So what is the purpose of this whole thing? Sorry, my daily template has, I by mistake set it to 1 hour for some reason. Let me just change it to daily and make sure I save it so that, it's basically saved as daily. And, if I go to 1 hour and come back to daily, then you will see that the time frame is daily. Now, one of the things that I would like to highlight is that when you are actually looking at the template, do not remember one thing: whatever change you do in the time frame or the duration gets reflected in the template. So if you want to create a new template, ideally you should save that as a new template and then change any time frames, durations, or zoom settings. Okay, that's the preferred approach. So that's the synchronize view mode. What is this used for? This is a great setting, useful if you want to compare different symbols, different symbols in the same setting. And in fact, the good thing about this is if I were to zoom to say I wanted to analyze only this downtrend here, then all my 4 charts are going to show that same period. Okay, that's the best part about this. If I want to see, for example, let us say there is I want to go to a 10-year duration here, and I want to see, okay, what really happened to Nifty and all the indices during the downtrend of 2008. I simply zoom to this area. All the 4 windows are going to zoom to that area. If I want to expand this whole thing, I can also go to a big screen here, like this one here, and I can see all the 4 windows in the setting of my choice. If I change this thing to weekly, the change in weekly is going to apply to my daily view. Okay, if I go back to an hourly view, and if I come back, I'm going to stick with a weekly because that is what the change I did. So always remember, whatever change you do in this is going to change the settings of this template. All right, and that's the important point to remember. This is a common confusion point that a lot of people new to Investar have. Okay. Finally, there is another setting. Sometimes what you want to do is you want to have you want to have multiple windows, but you want them to be as independent as possible. Meaning that you want the symbol also different, and you want the template also different. So then this mode is what is called a no synchronization mode, wherein your template and the symbols, they are going to be independent. However, please note that if I were to change, for example, right now there's Nifty 100 over here and there's Nifty over here, and if I were to change here to the same template as something over here, the wall MACD or something, then it is obviously going to be the same setting. So if it's 1 year weekly for the wall MACD, if I change back here again, exactly the same setting will be there. So always understand one thing, that a layout, whenever it is no synchronization, this would basically synchronize symbols. Sorry, make the symbols and the views in the windows independent. Okay, so let me see. There's a question here. Okay, so they would like to know how much it costs to subscribe Investar for a year. Well, so there are different plans for Investar. If you would like, should I highlight them now or should I at the end of the webinar? You tell me. I mean, I think I can probably do it at the end of the webinar if after I've covered all the things. Is that okay? We have till is that correct? We have till about 40 minutes remaining, right, in the webinar. We still have 40 minutes. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I just want to make sure how much time the students have. I mean, I have time because I know that it was a 2-hour webinar. So, but I just want to make sure that how much time we have, so I can just cover accordingly. Okay. So I have covered the window part I mean, the synchronization part, and it's good that, I mean, it's actually great to hear that all of you have understood the synchronization concept, because in my experience of giving this webinar, this is one of the difficult things that I have explaining to people, because we have done it differently than some other softwares. So most people are not able to get it right away. Now, another thing is, some of the drawings that you want to do, say you want to do Fibonacci retracements, then you can, you simply click on the drawing here, and then you can change the, do the Fibonacci retracement that way, and you can also select it and change the properties. And in the Fibonacci retracements, you can select the levels. So there are what is called levels, that also you can set accordingly. And then all these are basically the drawing sort of features. Nothing too complicated over here. I think that's a good enough time that we have spent on the charting interface, I think. One more highlight I would like to tell the students here is that we have a feature that is there in our Investar beta. So, all the subscribers of Investar get access to a beta version. A beta version because all the new and cool features we are adding to the beta version. And the reason for that is because we want feedback from our users before we actually incorporate them in the release. So I will just first of all show you one feature in the beta, which is, in my opinion, a very useful, and in fact, since we introduced it a few months back, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback about it. And as students also, I think it will be pretty useful because it will help in learning the concept of support and resistance very easily. So let me just highlight that part, which is basically called the Auto RS. Please note that Auto RS is only present in the Investar beta. It is not in Investar 5.1. It will soon be 5.1, but as of now, it is only in beta. So now, obviously, there are ways to do the things in the draw the resistance using a horizontal line, but that is the manual way of doing it. What we have introduced in Investar beta is a new way. A sort of an automated way where you simply right-click on the software and you go to Enable Auto SR. And what it will do is it will plot the support and resistance levels automatically. So for example, if you go to any particular chart here, like say Nifty here, you can see that the software has picked up the peaks and lows, which are basically the support and resistance levels. Now, if you once you learn this also, you understand that basically the software, what it is doing is it is catching the peaks automatically. We are using artificial intelligence for this. It is catching the peaks basically and drawing the support and resistance levels according to that. And the colors are basically showing whether it is a strong or weak level. So for example, if you go to any particular support and resistance level, the settings are basically set. There's an SR tab here, and how many bars you use for calculation here, how many candlesticks are used to calculate the support and resistances, that is over here. And then you also say, okay, in terms of the coloring, how you want to color this, whether it's dark blue or light blue, that is set over here. And basically the idea here is that we use, this is for the mostly for the instructors, I guess, of current technology. What we use the rating is basically the number of touches, the recency of the touches, and the basically the length of the trend line, so to speak, the length of the support or resistance line. The longer the length, the stronger it is. All those concepts we have actually used to rate lines, and then you can plot the rated lines accordingly. Now, the good thing about this is that you can simply go to any chart here, and the support and resistance level will be automatically plotted within a second. So the good thing here is that if supposing somebody is using volume breakouts and all that, capturing those things become pretty easy. Of course, you'll see a lot of lines, but that also means that if there are too many lines together, that also acts as a support zone or resistance zone. So that is the way to basically look at it. Okay. So that was just a brief on the Auto SR feature, which is in beta. Now let me go on to the scanner, which is also another important feature of the software. what you'll see is that there is this scans advisor time frame here, which tells us about the what is the scans time frame that we have set currently. Currently, the scans time frame is EOD, that is the end of day. What that means is that if we were to actually go to any particular stock here, this would actually show a particular signal in that time frame. So, for example, in this particular chart here, if I were to go to a oversold with an improving RSI, there's not much there, but let's go to bullish MACD crossovers, and if I add my indicator MACD here, what that would mean is that on a daily chart here, if I have to any particular stock, my time frame here is if I go to yesterday's data, because I'm looking at EOD, and the EOD scans are basically updated as of the market close, which is 22nd. If you look at my bottom screen, it says the scans are updated as of 22nd of December. So it is showing me that on 22nd, indeed, there is a buy sell signal over here, a buy signal over here. So if I zoom into this area here, you can see that there is indeed a buy signal over here. Means there is a MACD crossover. Any single stock is going to have bullish MACD crossover. Okay. So the important thing to know when you use this feature is that you have to match the whatever time frame you take. So supposing I were to take an hourly time frame here, I have to ensure that whatever time frame I'm taking, if I'm taking hourly, I also need to make sure that my intraday time frame is also hourly, and then my all my signals have to match. So for example, right now in an hourly time frame, I'm not getting an RSI, but if I just if I just add a MACD here, and if I go to any of the bullish MACD crossovers here, every single stock is supposed to have an MACD crossover at what time? At this time. The time indicated over here, 2 p.m. So make sure that my candle, my date and time are here, matching here. The time here should match the time here, which is basically where my cursor is. Okay, and then you will definitely see a buy signal over here. That is how the software is doing the scanning. So just for the people who are new to this concept, a scan is basically a way of filtering the stocks based on certain criteria that are predefined, at least as of now in our software. And this is basically the popular MACD 12-26-9 MACD and signal crossover. All the stocks in this sort of a scan are basically matching that criteria. Now, what is the use of this? The use of this is that you can actually very quickly find out stocks where a certain signal is happening, and then simply create a watch list based on that and add it to your watch list. Now let me show you one of the ways that I use the scans a lot, and that is basically to find out where sudden volume is appearing in any particular stock. So if I go to this particular, I'm going here on a 15-minute chart here, and if I or let me start off with something else here. Let me start off with a daily time frame first. A daily time frame means that I have to actually go to a daily template here, and I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to go to any particular stock here, which is say Kothari Products Limited. Now Kothari Products Limited suddenly has a volume surge today, and the volume surge is captured by our daily time frame. What it means is that if I were to add a moving average, of say SMA 50 to the second area, then my volume is above the 50-day moving average, and that's the reason why this particular stock is actually currently showing in this particular scan. So I can go to any stock here, every single stock is going to be above the volume bar is going to be above the 50-day moving average, and that is the reason why it is showing in this particular scan. What is the EOD time frame? In the EOD time frame, basically the software scanned yesterday's data. So if you see the yesterday's bar, like Reliance Industrial Infra was up big time yesterday, and if you see here, then you can see that the volume bar, there was a green volume bar which indicated that there was a sudden surge of volume yesterday. That's why this is over here, and every single stock is going to have that kind of a behavior. Every single stock is going to have a surge in volume in yesterday's trade.
Obviously, the EOD time frame generally makes sense to see after the end of day, and the daily time frame, what it does is it is considering also today's candle in your scanning for the daily time frame. So all the stocks in the daily time frame are ideal candidates for a strategy which is based on volume breakouts. Volume breakout is a strategy where you have a resistance breakout, with a volume surge. So that's what would probably be a good scan to do that. How do I use it? So supposing I like a particular stock, then what I do is I have my own watch list. So I create my watch list like that, create favorite group. You can either right click and create favorite group, or you can go here and you can create, let me see, where is that? Or you can go, where is my create favorite group? Yeah, or you can create favorite group from here also. The create favorite group, create index group. So I want to create my Nifty index group. I simply go here and I can create an index group over here. I can also create my favorite group from right clicking. So I right click here and then create a favorite group. I will call it my volume gainers and I will add it here. And then on, if I find something, say this one is there, I'll simply either drag and drop it to my watch list, or I will right click and add it to my favorite group. So that way I can keep building my watch list. So the scan is basically denoted by this magnifying glass on the icon here, and this favorite group is denoted by without a magnifying glass. The purpose of the favorite group is basically a watch list, and you use the scan to keep getting ideas on the stocks that are giving you the indications, and then you keep adding them to your watch list. So that's basically how to create a watch list of stocks to trade. Then the other way to filter things is basically this one. So you can also filter the scans based on various criteria. So for example, supposing I wanted to scan only my favorites. This is another thing. So supposing I want to scan only my favorites in my scans, then I can use the scans filter of favorites, right? If I want to scan right now I'm in a intraday supported time frame. If I go to an EOD time frame, I can also scan the BSE market for all the BSE stocks at the end of day. So that would be this particular filter. And there I can again sub-filter it based on many criteria. Say I want only the group A, so I would select group A and only the group A stocks would be there, and so on and so forth. So this is a very quick way to filter out these scans as per your requirements, and that way you can quickly narrow down the list of stocks in your scans. Okay, what else is remaining here? Of course, if you are should I cover any features of futures and options? Please let me know if I should, because I don't know if it's part of the course that I should cover it or not. But in case you want to filter the futures, then you would basically filter it based on the NSE futures criteria. Okay. All right. So now let me quickly go on to an important screen here, which I personally find it very useful in the sense that when you have multiple windows, it becomes very easy to quickly, just go to a specific, say, windows, specific stocks, and quickly see the fundamentals and charts together. And I usually like the advisor also, because if I don't know much about fundamentals, then I just want to see there are some green thumbs up, and there is this Sangam industry that's suddenly showing this 3 thumbs up. That looks like there's an interesting fundamental company. And then I can just look at the technicals to do my short-term to long-term trading. So I want to add it. So what I do is I just create a new favorite group. I'll call it my good funds or whatever. I'll call it that. And then simply this Sangam Industries, I will right click, add it to my good list. Okay, so that way it will be there in my good fund list. So this is a good sort of create your watch list. Always, if you are searching based on certain criteria, then the scanner is going to really help you identifying stocks meeting certain criteria and then narrow down watch list. Now, once you have created the watch list, what are the tools that are used to manage them on a day-to-day basis? This is also important. So what happens is, for example, let's say I'm just doing an end of day data, and in the evening I just see it once, then I can group the watch list also by different criteria. I can group the watch list by a volume percentage criteria, which is basically the high volume, average volume, and all that. Or I can group the thing by rating. I've not done any rating, so it's not going to show me anything, but I can also group it by industry. Okay, so that's basically how you can actually group the favorites using different criteria. Finally, I would also like to highlight a few other things. One is the interpretation of vol percentage. It's extremely important in my opinion. If you ask me, one of the most important things that many traders give is to the volume. And what we've done is we have inbuilt the volume feature in the software. So suppose if you were to look at this thing here, volume percentage, this volume percentage is indicating how much the volume compared to the 50-day volume. So supposing I were to go to the daily time frame here, and then I see the scans here. Kothari Products Limited, if the volume is volume, you would see that it is approximately 8.1 times the 50-day average. This green bar is 8.1 times the 50-day average. That's basically what it says. Okay. And you go to any of these things, you will see same relation. So why is it saying 553% is because again this 8506 divided by 110, these two figures is what is divided to get the number. This one divided by this one is what is divided to get the 553 number. You can see that this times 5 is 85, right? So that's why you have 5.53, 553%. So how much above the 50-day average volume? It is there. Second thing that is important to understand here is why do we color the volume bar? The volume bar is colored based on a what is called a let me just go here. If you edit the indicator, edit the volume, you can change your fill color based on the change percentage and open versus close. Now, when you go here, oops, if I go here and if I go to the volume bar, and this change percentage that is there is basically there because I actually if I were to go to any particular chart and if I were to see that there is a certain rise in the stock price with only green bars, majority of the green bars above average volume, then that's a sign that there is accumulation taking place. So it's a very good visual indication of things, right? So for example, you can clearly see there is a lot of accumulation going on over here because all the time the green volume bar is above the SMA moving average and so on. So that's why we color the volume bar green. And finally, let's see, anything else that I'm missing out on the scans and favorites? Oh yeah, one big thing I missed out, which is the selecting of these scans. So supposing there are a whole lot of scans that are there and you can select the scans. So what I did is I just clicked on this manage scans button here. And there are a whole lot of scans. I can go to the fundamental scans, list of fundamental scans. I can go to technical scans, and I can go to the candlestick based scans. And they are all sorted or classified based on a bull bear, an intraday EOD kind of a scenario. So anytime I want to add scans, all I do is simply here. I just see what I have selected currently, which is basically will be shown over here. I do not want all this, that's fine. And I want, let us say, some of the scans that will help me in the breakouts, then I can just select them here. And some other maybe gainers on strong volume and all those scans too. And I can simply apply them to see the scans immediately. You can see that immediately the scans results are reflected and that you will see the list of the scans right away. Okay, so this is the entire process of sort of selecting and adding the results. There is another thing which is called composite scans, where you can actually combine different scans to get your own particular scan. So if I create composite scan, I'm going to composite a scan which says my new sort of 8-week highs, okay, on volume. if I add a new 8-week high here, and then I add a filter criteria which is volume percentage, then this would be I say I want only 200 and higher volume, percentage volume means where the volume is 2 times the 50-day average, and I just get a result just to make sure that I have some results for that scan, and I save it. And then I click on this one here in the composite scans window, apply it, and immediately within a fraction of a second, you will see that there is a whole bunch of scans over here. And all these stocks are having 200% plus volume because we 200% plus criteria over here. Okay. But please note that the volume percent is the daily percentage volume. We don't have a figure for the intraday percentage volume as of now, but this is a daily percentage volume. Okay, so that is about the chart scans, and then finally, if you want to see industries and all that, then you can also add an industry group like that. I can choose, for example, the software industry if I wanted, computer software industry, and that would be my computer software industry. Now I can also go to the scans window like here, and if I click on any of that, then I'm seeing the scans, the favorites or the favorite group results in one shot. And one of the things I do like is, for example, if I had a particular product, then what I can do is I can right click and I can do a show industry comparison to see a quick comparison of all the stocks in that industry, which is also another important thing that you need to do. And when you do this, you can also select this particular window which is showing the scans and favorites and chart together. Means it has shown on the left because our layout is horizontal. We'll make it sorry, our layout was vertical, so we'll make it horizontal. And this is how it looks. I can go to Kothari products, see the chart. I can go to any particular stock in this industry and quickly compare the all the things here. And then I can sort it by the average volume over here or my volume percentage, whatever it is. So that's just a sort of a quick way of looking at a thing in the scans or favorites and looking at the chart at the bottom. Okay. Coming back to, if you want to come back to charts, simply click on the bottom left here, come back to the chart. So that is the charts and scans and favorites together. So one important theme that we are looking at, and that is what we designed the Investar, is basically integration of things, integration of charts and fundamentals, integration of charts and scans, integration of, now you will see the portfolio and chart also. So we'll come to that just shortly, but before that, there's also one more feature I'd like to just quickly show, and that is basically of this watch list bar. There is this concept of a watch list bar. So you can see on the top there's a Nifty index. You can also quickly customize it. You can add scripts to that bar as per your, what you want to show at the top. Now, any questions so far? Because I'm talking a lot, and usually I like to keep my session very interactive. It is unfortunate that you people cannot talk, but at least if there are any questions on the chat, I'd be happy to take them. Okay, I'll just move forward. So now the last part is basically what we call the portfolio manager. And the portfolio manager is, you can say, the tool which actually helps to keep track of your transactions in a proper way in a portfolio manager, which basically also alerts you on various things as to how your performance is going. Because I personally feel that as a trader, as a technical analyst, we really know how to make decisions on anything, but we also need to, once we buy a particular stock, for example, we need to track it and we need to make sure that we are actually keeping tab of whether it is going into a loss or whatever it is, putting a proper stop loss, all these things, right? So here's the simple sort of portfolio manager where I have created my portfolio. I have a brokerage account there. It's a Zerodha account, so I just added my Zerodha account there, and I added a transaction which is Infosys. Now, what I want to first highlight is why is this very important to track the portfolio with the charts. So if I now just open up the portfolio and charts together, and if I were to actually go to the same stock, that is the Infosys, and I were to zoom in the area, one thing you will see is that I bought this stock on the 19th of February. In fact, if I go to my trading diary, you can go to the trading diary by going here, portfolio analysis trading diary, by the way. If I go to my diary, I can see my transactions. So I did a buy on the 19th of February for 50 shares, okay, at 58. I sold 13th of May around 24,000. And look what I did. I basically made a big mistake here by buying at the top and selling at the bottom. Okay? This particular way of what we have done is we are showing that same transaction here, that we bought 50 shares at this and sold 25 shares at this. So you are getting a visual indication of your mistakes here. And one of the most important things for any trader, I believe, is to jot down your whatever notes you are, whatever rationale or reasons that you purchased the stock, why you did it. If you just jot it down, then that's be a much better tool with it. So, for example, let us say, at this point of time, uh, for some reason, okay, why I'm not able to. It did open now, and I don't know why it's not opening up. So, anyways, uh, this memo is not opening up. But anyway, if I were to actually enter over here, whatever note I am putting it over here, I'll have my team look at this why on my system it's not opening up. If it's a bug, I'll solve it. But in my if I enter a memo over here, there is a note, then that note will also be visible where I'm actually where the transaction is being entered. So that is the whole thing about seeing the full charts together. It just gives you a better perspective. Second thing is you can go to portfolio analysis and profit and loss analysis, and you can see the profit loss in one screen. So for example, it will give you whether it is a short term, long term, intraday analysis or anything other than that, right? And you can also take a export this into a portfolio report. So I can export it as a PDF and I can give it to my accountant. I can just say okay, and I can call it what I want, and hopefully it's there. So it's just showing me exactly the PDF form of my portfolio loss analysis. So all you do is you simply take this and you give it to your CA, and you would that would be your entire thing. It would help them in the tax accounting and all that. Okay, so that's the portfolio manager. What else is there in the portfolio manager? You can also see the transactions on certain dates. So for example, if I were to go on a certain date in the past, oh, I'm looking at beta. So if I go to a certain date in the past, so supposing I were to go on the 9th, you will see that the market value is changing. So one of the things about our portfolio manager is that you can go to any date in the past and the value will change. It also gives you a visual perspective of what your portfolio was on that particular date. Okay. So this is another that is very useful. Of course, the other things I'm not going to cover. It's pretty intuitive. What symbols you want to see, etc., and whether you want to see the quotes view on the portfolio manager or fundamentals view or the technicals view. You can also see a quick technical picture of whether you are getting some signals in your portfolio manager. Okay. Same concept of view, by the way, is there here. I probably missed it out, but if you go here and if you see the fundamentals view, then on the left as well as on the right, you're going to see only the fundamental parameters. If you go to the technical view, you will see the technical parameters, all the pivot points and the indicators. If you go to the F&O view, then you will see some OI related parameters. Okay, so that's basically how it is. I think that's about it. As of now, you can also import the content nodes of some popular brokers, basically, and that way you don't have to manually enter the transactions. And we're also working on probably working. I mean, we're also in talks with integrating our software with one of the biggest discount brokerages, so that you can probably hopefully trade directly from the software also. So that's something that we are working on. I think that's about it from my side. If there is anything else that you need clarification, please post the questions while I actually go about explaining the pricing, because the question on how do we go about the software. So first of all, you know, I would like to announce that all of you who are attending this webinar today, we will be offering a flat 20% discount as long as you are subscribing before your trial gets over. Okay, so as long as you subscribe before your trial gets over at Credit Academy, which we have given like 1 month, or some people who are longer duration, a little longer trial, we will be giving you a flat 20% discount. If you don't see that or something, then please just talk to the sales team or whatever. Let me explain some of the options here. Now, um, first of all, we have many plans over here, and basically there are all these products. They are basically the paid editions, and these are the end of day versions of software, and you can interactively select whatever plan you want. So by the way, the 20% is, I forgot, the 20% discount applicable on the annual edition. Okay, I don't want to kind of give a concept. It is only for the annual subscription. We never have any discounts on the monthlies and quarterlies. So, and this 20% is exclusively for Credit Academy students, because you are students of Credit Academy. That's why. So, uh, the in the products, basically we have all these things. Whatever I have been showing is basically the Investar standard edition, and it is containing all the add-ons that are shown over here. So let me explain what this is. Basically, if you hover the mouse over any product, you will see that this standard EOD is the full feature edition of Investar with end of day data for NSE and BSE stocks. If let's say I'm only trading in stocks. If I'm only trading in stocks and I need the 1 minute real-time update as in the trial that you're seeing, then you would select this. You would select the NSE cash 1 minute option, and you would select the screener option, because the intraday screener is a separate option which gives you the scanning facility in intraday. And then you would also select, say, the yearly option here, and that would give you basically the cost of the software. So if I'm a NSE stock trader, for the full version, which is 1 minute real-time update, it would cost you 15,450 plus service tax, which is 17,690. And this is basic. You can apply a 20% discount on it, as I said, as long as you subscribe before your trial ends. Then if you are looking for, let us say, also futures and options data, then you would also select basically the F&O 1 minute and screener F&O, and that would basically bring the cost. It would add 7,000 or so to the cost to bring it to 22,450. You can also choose options. Supposing you don't need intraday screener, just simply select that. You can see that the standard edition with 1 minute data is basically costing so much, right? So the options you can play over here. Now there's one thing I would like to highlight, and that is that we are the only software company that has at least for as I know, a very good Android app, and whatever intraday plan you are taking here, whether it's a 1 minute option or 5 minute option, whatever plan you are taking, you are going to get the same data on the Android application or iPhone application, whichever phone you have. The good thing about the Android application, and you can also download the Android application, today if you want, and while your current trial is going on, you can simply sort of activate the mobile trial also. We can do it for you so that you can check it out. But the main thing is that it becomes easy, to sort of synchronize the favorites. So I can go here and I simply synchronize my favorites. All my favorite groups watch list will be available on my Android phone, and vice versa. Also the same thing works in a similar way. Okay. So I think that's about it. Anything else? Any questions on anything? Okay. So, if there's no other questions, I think I will end the webinar here. Thank you so much, Credent Academy, especially Pratik and Jaya for arranging the webinar. And also the also Bajaj, Abhijit, and everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity to sort of present Investar to all students. And if you have any difficulties, of course, our support staff is there. You can call the support number directly. It's not mentioned on the homepage, but it mentioned the support section is basically 97 this number here. This is the number you should call if you have any kind of installation difficulties or any kind of difficulties understanding the. Okay, thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.